Hi, my name is Brad Diamond. I'm a professor of voice here at Samford University. This week, I taught a toolbox session on singing in worship. And it was really fun to get the perspective of my different camp members on what they bring to worship with their voices. And we had some real interesting conversations about one of the most important things you can bring to worship is your voice. And whether you feel really gifted as a vocalist or whether you feel like you're really a beginner, one of the most important things you can do is use the instrument that you have. Many of them had different backgrounds and different responsibilities in worship. Some of them were members of their praise team or members of a praise band. Some of them actually were worship leaders. And they really wanted to know what they could do to improve as singers, or tools that they could have to help them build their instruments over a period of time. Because this is the way that we train our instruments. We have the instrument today that we have, but what we want to do we want to do things that will feed and nurture that instrument so that it will grow into a better version of itself. So we started at the very beginning with some tools and some tips for mental clarity and for breathing exercises to just steady us and get us to a place where we could do good, meaningful work. There's lots of things that float around in our mind that distract us. What we're going to have for lunch, what we're going to have for dinner, how much sleep we got last night, which was a common theme amongst my Animate members. But we just spent a couple of moments trying to set those aside and give ourselves some mental space to do some meaningful work. And then we moved right into some of the more important aspects of vocal technique, the first one being posture and body alignment. How do I bring my body to a place that will help me do good vocal work? We talked about standing tall or sitting tall and having a proud, noble attitude in our posture. Those are really, really good words. And then we talked about ways that we can connect to our breath, and understanding that breath is really the fuel, the energy of the singing experience. And what we do with the breath and the body and how they work together really do have significant impacts on the singing sounds that we make. So we went through a series of exercises where we counted in and we breathed low and slow in our bodies. 8 counts in, low and slow, thinking about that. And then we would release the air slowly, again over 8 counts. And we were working for a sensation of fullness in the body, keeping the body full of air. We did that both the first day and the second day. And then on the second day, we moved into some really interesting tools for warm up and cool down that if we do them on a regular basis, they're sort of like daily vocal vitamin pills. And if you take them, they help the instrument grow. So we talked some about these different tools or these different exercises that we use to help train and help build our bodies. And there were 4 real principles that we talked about in our class. The first one was legato. Legato is just the idea of smooth singing, or singing that's connected to the breath and the body in a slow and sustained and smooth kind of way. The exercise that we did in our class on the second day was ah. We talked about how that's a legato sound versus one that would be ah, 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 ah. That's not as legato. What we want is to just encourage the singing to be smooth and connected. And then we talked about appoggio, which is this fancy Italian word that just means the breath and the body working together in a way that almost feels to the singer like laughter. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. We did a lot of that. And what that does is it just helps connect the breath and the body to the singing experience. We talked about attack or onset and how we want our onset to be clean and balanced. Rather than glottal, e, or aspiratory. He, but we want that nice, clean, tidy onset. E. And then the last principle we talked about was agility, which is just simply singing fast, right? And there's lots of different ways you can accomplish this, but in our class we did and if you're watching this and you're a student, you remember how much fun we had with that moment, because it is a little scary. It is a little different than some of the other kinds of singing that we do. But anytime we challenge the instrument to do something that's difficult for it, it usually responds by increasing proficiency or literally getting better. And then at the end of our class, we had this really great moment where we listened to a young, youthful singer, and I asked them to give me comments about that. And they did so. And their comments were, well, this is a very young instrument, maybe isn't as trained, needs time to grow and develop. And then I played a second example, and that example was of a very mature, well-sung, beautifully performed vocalist. And then I told them, well, the punchline is that they are the same. They're only separated by the passage of time. The first was a very youthful version of a singer, and then we listened to that same singer about 20 years of training later, and I told them the most important thing with your singing is the passage of time well spent. So if we train our instruments on a daily basis in a good, healthy way, we'll grow as singers. We'll grow more confident. We'll be able to use our instrument more confidently in our worship experiences, whether they're leading, whether they're participating, whether they're praise band or worship band or whatever it is. Whatever the situation is, if we use the instrument in a healthy way, we'll get better singing. Hope you all enjoyed this experience this week at Animate.